Good evening, ladies. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make a start. So you are hereby summoned to attend an extraordinary meeting of Hemsworth Town Council to be held in the main hall, Hemsworth Town Council Community Centre, Bullenshaw Road, Hemsworth, commenced at 7 p.m. on the 10th of October 2024 for the purpose of transacting the following business. Item number 1, apologies for absence. No apologies. Item number 2, declarations of interest. Council should disclose pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest in the items on this agenda. Item number 3, AGAR 2023-24, to discuss concerns regarding the AGAR for 2023-24. As you're all aware, ladies and gentlemen, there's no public question time on this. My intention is to allow councillors to speak and then allow the public ask anything that they want to ask regarding the discussions that have been had. So, item number 3, who wants to start? Ian?
Right, it's me that called for this extraordinary meeting to discuss the AGAR, which is the Annual Governance Accountability Return. It is an audit which is conducted every year, as everybody knows, but it's not a full audit, it's a selective audit. Some things are seen, some things are not seen. I think I'm correct in saying the main purpose of the audit is to make sure that financially there's no money missing and everything's been paid and such like. I think I can categorically say, or I believe, that there is no money missing from the council during the last AGAR return. There is, it is a legal document, and with respect, there is no fault whatsoever in marking down on the AGAR sheet if something is not met, if there's a problem. But I believe it's more of a problem and it's more unacceptable if something is put down as met when there is a problem. There is a little bit of a timeline on this that I just want to discuss first. The extraordinary meeting was called on the 27th of June to discuss and to sign off the AGAR. Unfortunately, I wasn't available for that meeting. Each section, each of the 9 sections should have been discussed individually. And to the best of my knowledge, that didn't happen. It was rushed through. 5 councillors were not prepared to sign that AGAR off, and they dissented on that AGAR. And it's written on the sheet that they dissented. The rest of the council passed the AGAR as acceptable, and it was okay. I believe that was clearly ill-advised. There was a meeting took place on the 26th of July, to which the Vice Chairman, the Clerk, Councillor Whitehead, and a member of the public were in attendance. During that time, between the extraordinary meeting and the AGAR being signed off and the end of July, there's a public consultation period where any member of the public within Hemsworth, Fitzwilliam and Kingsley could come and have a look at Hemsworth Town Council's books, and if they found any problems whatsoever, they could discuss them. They were also entitled to put in a letter to the accountant stating those problems. During that meeting, various objections were put to the clerk, which were found during this consultation period. It was agreed by the Vice Chairman and the clerk that a review of the AGAR should take place, because there were some items, quite a few items on that AGAR that should have been marked down as not met, but they were marked down as met. To that, I believe the vice chairman contacted the chair, who said that he would be a signator to that. But
Can I just put in there? No, I didn't say that. Sorry. I did
it,
not sign it.
It's in black and white that you said that you will be a signator to that.
In an email.
It's in an email chain and it's in black and white.
Okay, that's pedantic, but let's just carry on.
The third contact on that email chain was me, and I said that I would be a signator as well. This never happened because circumstances dictate. I believe that the clerk had agreed to send a member of public some information which she never received. So she had to lodge her objections before the end of July, and they were sent to Little John's. Because this extraordinary meeting didn't happen to discuss the AGAR, I requested an extraordinary meeting, seconded by Councillor Bates, to take place on the 9th of September, because the day after that, I was going on holiday. That extraordinary meeting never took place, and it was transferred to the 10th when I was on holiday. So it was then agreed to postpone that meeting until the 2nd of October when I returned from holiday. Again, that meeting never took place. It was never granted. So today's meeting is third time lucky.
So can I just come back? So
Yep.
regarding the meeting that was had with the vice chair, as I was on annual leave, I believe, because I wasn't there, that there was discussions, and people said, yes, we'll have a look into that. It was also said to me by yourself and another councillor that if we discuss it and have the meeting, then that person would withdraw their thing, and that's said to me by the other councillor as well. In the meantime, it was the vice chair who called for the extraordinary meeting. The member of public, which is within their rights, had sent their issues, what they saw, to Little John's. They copied us on an email. I think that was on the 5th. So the vice chair withdrew their meeting because the theory is that the thinking is we have to wait for Little John's report. Why discuss it now when we can wait for Little John's report and then we will have to act? I mean, we will have to act on the report that Little John's may or may not send. That is the reason why it was withdrawn.
I take your point on that. Prevention is better than cure.
It was too late at that point. I was on annual leave.
If an extraordinary meeting, I'll give way to you in a second, Carol, sorry. If an extraordinary meeting had been called to discuss the AGAR, and then Little John's had been informed that we realised that there are problems, they may not have even needed. No,
Becca, can I let him speak, please? Go on, can I have a
they may not have even needed. If we had put in a second AGAR, a replacement, then they would not have investigated. They would have recognised that we were dealing with any issues.
So, Carol, you had your hand up. Can you come in there? Sorry, Carol had her hand up. Can you come in there?
So, I attended meetings with clerk and vice chair. Questions were put to clerk, and clerk agreed on several items that we'd failed. The clerk admitted that we'd failed. We hadn't met these assertions. That's the clerk's words.
Oh, Becca,
The resident.
Becca, let finish. Becca, let finish.
I asked the resident if there was anything that we could do as a council. She did not say she'd withdraw it. What she said is she would be still putting her concerns into Little John's, and us looking at it, re-looking at the AGAR, would be a good option. That's why we asked for an extraordinary meeting. Andrew said he was going to send, like Ian's just said, the rest of the information to the resident, and they didn't go. She put a complaint in, whatever, she put it into Little John's, but she did state that the council was going to relook at the AGAR. Didn't say to change it, it was said to look at it.
Councillor Rushmore, would you like to come in with your some
The member of the
disagreements?
public actually said that she said the deadline. The member of the public actually stated that the deadline was coming up to send it in. However, she wasn't actually sure whether she was going to send it in, and that if the council considered to discuss her issues and for me and Andrew to take them to the council to discuss, then it might now have gone to Little John's. So no, that's not the account.
I debate that one because it's on video. Yeah.
Yeah, causes. Can I just ask what people, our councillors, what councillors think we're going to get from this AGAR? What the risk is? Can you explain what you believe could potentially happen?
We won't get fined.
Yeah, but could you please explain what you think could happen?
We won't get fined. But if all the processes, the policies and processes within a council are not adhered to, then we're at fault. All of us as councillors are at fault.
Can I ask?
Therefore, if we can improve those processes, and I'm going to go through a couple. We'll go through a couple.
Go on,
Okay. I mean, some of the objections. I'm not going through every single one that's been sent into Little John's, but basically, one of the requirements for the AGAR is that minutes should be printed, minutes should be posted from meetings. There are some minutes missing. With respect to Linda King, she probably wasn't... Karen King. With respect to Karen King, she probably wasn't aware of this. She probably didn't cross-reference the fact that minutes are missing, and that is something that should be down as met. Okay, or not met, one or the other.
Can I just ask if you have any when the minutes were?
Well, I've got 3 down. A meeting, I think it was a leisure on the 23rd of the 3rd.
Possibly, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. A full council meeting, I think, on the 4th of the 4th.
Okay.
And one just before that on a meeting, can't remember which one it is, 21st of the 3rd.
That's fine. Can we also discuss some that happened last year that aren't on there?
June's are not on.
June's not on, May's not on.
I think that June last year.
Can we also discuss, can we make it clear when these, so regarding what time period this AGAR is about?
23-24.
Under whose administration at the time?
Sorry?
Under whose administration at the time?
Hemsworth Town Council.
Hemsworth Town Council.
Chair,
All
vice,
on us.
Chair, vice
It's
chair.
not just the chair, it's every councillor.
That I consider as passing the buck.
No, it's just making people aware of what time
No,
period
it's
we're talking
passing the
about.
buck,
That's
Sean.
passing the buck.
Can we please have one conversation, please?
It's every councillor, and we are all liable, as it was stated in the last meeting, you are liable.
See, I've got multiple emails from me, you and Vicky asking for multiple aspects of information, and we were denied them and denied them and denied them. So anyone sitting here that didn't have that information
Could not.
But yet you signed them off.
We weren't given information.
Councillor McGuinness, you want to continue? Because also, I'm just trying to get what people or what councillors feel we're going to get out of this, or what is going to happen. Because the worst that could happen is Little John's will come back and say, you need to put things in place to stop this, which we've already done. We've got committees. Committees are a good, what's the word? Checks and balances. You didn't have no committees. They are now in place. There was mistakes will have been made. Nothing illegal wasn't done. And I'm going to pull you up here. I have said in public that no money was stolen or missing. I
stated it.
Yeah, but
again.
I've been accused that I've been saying no. I did state that publicly in the very first meeting.
I'm going to come to that.
So there's no money missing.
No, I stated that at the beginning of
I'm just
my
making sure,
statement.
because I also said it at the very first parish meeting, and I've been accused of not saying it.
Right, another one that should be marked off on the AGAR as not met is our bank mandate. Our bank mandate is further out of date than the Magna Carta. There are only 3 councillors on there who can sign cheques.
That is on the next council agenda.
I know it's on the next one,
But we
but
failed it.
when it was signed off, it shouldn't have been signed off as met. It's, yes, we're correcting it now, but when the AGAR was signed off, it should have been put down as not met.
Can I just Maxine has hand up first, and then I'll come to you, Vicky.
So, I'm going back to when we were councillors. Don't turn round.
You're not supposed to do public.
You're not supposed to do that. So 22, 23, if you read the AGAR, it states that it wasn't met. There were sections not met. And if you read that the ex-clerk had some issues with Little John's, and they put in place things to do. So I'm asking, when obviously the ex-clerk left in June, I know he was following up on these things what Little John's had put in place. Can I ask if the new clerk carried on with this, with these certain?
It's not his comment, so we can't say that, the clerk at the time. I think what
But
is...
obviously they wasn't put in place, it hasn't been done, or you won't be here tonight.
I think
And
there's...
I'm not being funny, but you've got a councillor who was on that council at the time, who's making some accusations, should have known what the last AGAR was about.
Possibly. Can't comment. Vicky, you had your hand up.
No, it's fine. I'm just keeping that one.
I think it is fair to say that there will have been mistakes, will have been made, but the fact we've had 3 clerks in 12 months.
I agree, and this is what I'm saying. But what I'm stating is, when the ex-clerk was put on gardening leave, the new clerk should have followed up on what that ex-clerk was doing, and nothing. What that ex-clerk was doing was done.
Again, he's not here. He doesn't work for Hemsworth Town Council anymore, so we cannot answer for him. That's about as much as it gets.
Can I
Carol?
ask you, Andrew, when did it come back to full council? Got 2020 from
When did what come back to full council, sorry?
what Maxine's just been on about, because we didn't get it at the beginning of the year.
That's what... But,
You weren't supposed.
Yeah, and we didn't.
The year before, it's 2 years ago.
It's what we signed off and we said it hadn't been
No,
met.
it's not what you signed off, it's what we signed off as a council before you all became councillors.
And when did it come back to
Oh, so
council
they
with all
did- they
these?
did things, yeah.
so,
Because
Andrew,
your clerk didn't bring it back to council.
can Andrew answer, please?
Can I just clarify, we're talking about the auditor's report
For
from
22,
from the
23.
previous. I can't remember the exact date, but it was certainly reported to full council. Was the auditor's report. Roughly speaking, I think it was around
29th
October.
of June 2023. That's when we signed off the AGAR last year.
That's when the AGAR was signed off. Yeah, but the
29th
response,
of June 2023.
the response from the auditor came back in September, so it would have been reported probably in October. I can't remember the exact date when it was, but it certainly was.
Anybody else got anything else you want to add?
Next one.
Yep.
Our financial regulations have not been met, or weren't met when it was signed off.
These are your opinions.
This one is a little bit personal to me, because according to certain people on Facebook, I've spent £200,000 of the council's money because I signed for the transfer. Section 5 of our financial regulations, and this is the third time I'm saying this, Section 5, subsection 5, paragraph C. I may not be quoting it word for word, but it allows the clerk to transfer money between accounts, providing that the clerk informs the council at the next meeting possible. That didn't happen. There were two transfers one in August, and one in February. Neither of those were fetched to council. Would the clerk care to agree with me or deny?
Neither were brought to the council, no, at the time.
Thank you.
And also no.
Kathy, you had your hand up, can you want to come in there?
So can I ask, who was it the acting town
No,
clerk?
no, she can't ask that, no.
We can't ask who that was, sorry,
Why?
because I've had advice that we can't.
Staffing matter.
Staffing
matter.
we can't.
However, it wasn't reported.
It's not part of it.
If we were to say who or who it wasn't, then,
But the
that could
accusations
identify.
are at this clerk.
It's, Chair, we can't discuss.
the advice is we can't discuss that.
Well, okay, I know that, as you've just said, Ian, that it was in August 23.
Make your assumptions from that.
We all know that who the acting town clerk was then, don't we?
Mhm.
We know that the
Chair,
new
we're
town
talking
clerk.
about staffing matters, Chair.
We need to stop it, yeah, sorry, we can't go any further.
Can I also ask, if it didn't come to council, whose other responsibility it is to bring to council? Because from what I've read and I've looked it all up, that the chair and the vice chair should have brought it to council if it wasn't brought to council.
I believe they have the authority to do so if they so wish. I believe, could be wrong on that, but I believe that to be true.
But even if it's not in the financial regulations, would it not have been courteous to bring it to council?
All I can say is that nothing illegal has happened. As you said, the clerk is, the person who transferred was, yeah, nothing illegal has happened.
But Sean, you're missing the point. Ian is saying, what he's stating now, he's saying that regulations weren't followed.
Possibly,
So you can't have it both ways.
possibly
So
standing
obviously-
standing orders were not followed,
Yeah.
possibly. However,
Financial
financial regulations were followed.
The one.
Financial
But
regulations were not
They did
followed.
not bring it to
No,
council.
he didn't.
Correct.
He didn't bring it to council in.
Himself, yes.
It's up to the clerk to bring it, the RFO to bring it to.
But who was the
So-
clerk at the time?
Again,
Again, we need to stop getting away from conversations. Just look at the timelines, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
I can't say anything other than that, look at the timelines.
The fact that the financial regulations were not met could actually trigger a judicial review on this.
Ian, you were part of that, you could have brought it to council, you knew about that money coming out. And if you need to go back to
Yeah.
who first signed that check and check.
Can we have a point of order,
What you're
please?
doing is
Just a minute, I'm
digging
gonna-
yourself an hole.
I'm
We're
not
just,
digging
excuse
myself
me,
any
can
hole.
we're just repeating the same sort of thing. We understand what people are saying, we don't disagree. We are just regurgitating the same stuff. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with nobody, but we just need to move progress. Jason, would you like to come in?
So just to clarify, and I've heard you ask the question, you know, what a council is looking to gain out of this. Essentially, the report's been signed off. People are questioning whether that report should have been signed off or not. You stated several times nothing illegal has been done, which I believe there isn't anything illegal been done. However, isn't the purpose of the AGAR report not just for the councillors, but for the public to understand that the people they've elected are carrying out their duties in compliance with the regulations, standing orders and policies set out by the council? And while nothing illegal may have been carried out, not following certain procedures and policies and regulations can lead to certain transactions not meeting the requirements of them policies, in which case, while it's not necessarily illegal unless nepotism is proven, it can lead to transactions happening that shouldn't.
That's what's happening. So we have an auditor.
Yep.
An auditor comes, we are councillors. I work in the chemical factory. other councils all work, none of us here, working council's financial stuff out. So we employ an expert.
Yes.
That expert said, you're fine to sign it off.
So,
What can we do?
right, yeah, no, so that's what I'm trying to understand.
If I was to go, so again, I think I said this at the time of the meeting, if we were, let me get this the right way, if we were to vote against the professional advice, then we are to blame. If we go with the professional advice and it's wrong, they are to blame.
And so the question.
We're using the professionals.
Yeah, so the question then is, so the person carrying out the AGAR report, have they recommended that councillors accept that report as compliant, or have they said they have questions around it?
The internal audit?
Yeah, so Catherine King, she said all
Yes.
She said all the financial stuff's compliant.
It wants a full internal audit though, Jason.
It's only a selective audit.
As any audit ever
As
is.
any. And then there's been questions raised during public consultation that can go back to the auditor.
Which you can't.
Say again, sorry.
Which you can't. Once.
Sorry, I think you're referring to the, no, sorry, the public, the exercise of public rights.
Yeah.
Period during which members of the public can contact
Yes.
the auditor.
Yeah. So the member of public's contacted the auditor with their concerns. Has that changed the auditor's opinion on whether that report should be signed off as compliant?
We don't know because the
It hasn't gone to the
sorry.
auditor.
it hasn't gone to the auditor. It's gone to,
No, sorry, it has gone to the auditor, the external auditor,
Yeah.
who has returned an interim report.
Yeah.
Because they can't certify the AGAR as of yet because they're still considering correspondence they've received
Yeah,
during the
so
year.
should councillors have acknowledged to sign off that report during the period which it can be contested as it has been?
Sorry, I don't understand.
I don't understand your question.
Sorry, what was that?
So the AGAR report that's being raised into question by some council members, there's been questions raised against certain aspects of that, is that right? Yeah. So should councillors not have waited to see what the outcome of that is before they accept and sign off the report as compliant?
We did.
That's not, sorry, do you mind if I?
No,
That's not quite the process.
Right.
So the council signs off the AGAR,
Yeah.
submits it to the external auditor,
Yeah.
who then reviews it,
Yeah.
returns their report, which may include issues.
Yes.
It may include recommendations as well, and will probably include expectations on their behalf as to how the council will rectify these. It's done this in previous years. At that point, the council would be advised to consider the external auditor's report and act accordingly.
Understand. And when the initial report came to council for approval, what was the voting numbers?
I can't remember.
I can't say, but I believe it was recorded.
7-5.
And as I will say that each item we went down singly on each item and we didn't say.
No, you didn't.
No.
No, you did not.
So,
Sorry, I'm speaking, please have some order. So, as I says, we went down each item and we says, item, assertion number 1, read it out, agreed. Assertion, we read out these assertions and then we had a vote on all the assertions at once. Gerald, I think I didn't do first. I've seen, Carol.
I'll let you speak.
Yeah, he had his hand up.
It seems to me that there's a whole lot of recrimination, rightly or wrongly, and an awful lot of posterior covering by you lot here. I think the time would probably be better employed accepting it's a royal stuff-up and planning what you're going to do to get together and put it right.
So we have done that already. We have got committees.
Good.
Committees are the balance and check and balances. There was no committees. The council agreed last year, previous year, for whatever reason, with the clerk order. I'm not sure how that happened, but there was no committees. If you have committees, these things tend to get picked up on more than a monthly basis as they come in. Carol, you had your hand up?
You said doing the AGAR, there's rules to the AGAR. So when we're signing the AGAR off, you're supposed to go through each box one by one and tick that whether you've met them or not. And it's on video and it's on Hemsworth website. We did not go through each assertion box one by one. You kept going to the vote. Only things that were discussed on there was the asset register and finances, and then you took it to the vote, John, and it's on video. The rules state.
I am quite happy that we
I'm
met all the
quite- and
rules.
I'm
However,
happy to
I do
continue.
agree with Gerald. To me, this is just, right, there was a conversation, there was an incident, I won't come to you, Lynn first and then Maxine. I do agree with you. There was an incident around June, July time last year, and I wanted an investigation. The councillor there quite rightly said, what's the point of having an investigation, what's it for? Is it to try and improve things, or is it just to get your piece of meat? This is what I think this is all about, to be honest with you. I just think it's something's happened, they're not happy, let's just keep going on and on about it. So I think it was Lynn first and then Maxine.
Just to go back very slightly, the change from committees to no committees
Yeah.
when the new council came in 2023 was a suggestion by the clerk at the time. And the council voted majority that was.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't, I said.
It was,
You-
well,
I
you
was
were in a
actually
meeting
told
at
that it
Fitzwilliam
was
Centre,
Fitzwilliam Centre, he
where you
told me
all
that.
agreed what you were doing.
No.
It was, wasn't it?
It-
We were all there.
Can we have a bit of order, please?
Ian told me, straight told me that they were meeting up at the Fitzie Centre and they discussed not having the committee because Ian was against
Because
it.
I agreed
he
and
said
said
that
that
to
we
me
need the
himself.
finance committee. The ones we could not get rid of.
So committees are not relevant to the agenda item.
We need to get
I
the
forgot,
facts
I
right.
forgot your name again, sorry.
What actually happened up at the Fitzwilliam,
Never sort it out, because it's division.
what actually happened,
Gerald.
what actually happened at the Fitzwilliam Centre, when the new council.
Can we please, just a minute, sorry, can we please, so we can hear what she's saying? Thank you.
When the new
I'm not
councillors.
sure, I was talking low, we're not shouting and bawling like you're doing.
I could hear you and you were disrupting
Oh,
people.
you must have sensitive hearing, that's all I can say.
Point of order.
Come on,
No,
Kathy,
sir.
please.
What
Is that a
actually,
threat? Sorry, is that
Oh,
a threat?
no, can we please?
No.
No, point of order, I've just been.
I know I heard the threat, can you please record a threat being made, but Kathy, please, I mean, this is descending to
Yeah.
chaos. We'll get through this and then we're gonna,
every time I speak, that councillor always makes a point of interrupting me.
I agree.
Every time I speak, he always interrupts me, or he laughs, or he swears. And I've raised this, I've put complaints in regarding it. So can you just sit quietly and listen to what I've got to say? He won't know this information because he wasn't a councillor at the time. So what actually happened up at the Fitzwilliam Centre, when all the councillors had been they weren't voted in because and people were invited to go up and meet them. Certain members of the public attended that meeting, and it was discussed whether you would have committees. Certain councillors would not put themselves forward to be on the finance committee or the leisure and rec and everything. So it was then decided that it would just be a full town council meeting, because nobody wanted to be chair or vice chair, and that is what was said that evening.
Can I just say that some councils did want to be on committees? I know Annie wanted to be on the committee, and Gary and all them, but because they weren't part of the gang, they got rid of them.
okay, can I just say, when this is a meeting about the AGAR, I appreciate what people are saying, but we need to get back onto the things regarding the AGAR. Anybody else got anything to say?
Yeah, can I give some clarifications, yeah?
Certainly.
And I'm responding to what Jason said, because he's absolutely right. The purpose of the AGAR, and we went through this last year, there were 3 items not met. We went through them one by one, there were no boxes ticked until we went through them, and 3 of them were not met. That went to Little John's, the external auditor. But in addition to that, went with it, the then clerk submitted some assertions, what we were going to do to put that right, and they accepted that. So there were no costs from Little John's. This year was quite different. When we got to this meeting to discuss the AGAR, every box was ticked as met. And some people disputed that. I was one of them. And I was shut down from questioning it. And it was pushed to a vote. So we wrote dissent on it. The reason the public objections have gone in is because we've had discussions about it with the clerk. The clerk's accepted that these conditions are not met. He can confirm that as already been asked to do. The purpose of the AGAR is for the public, to show the public that we are being acting responsibly with their money, and we've got systems in place, and this is what the internal auditor does. It's not an audit, it is not a financial audit, it's to make sure we've got systems in place, checks and balances. And every one of those items we failed on, and the clerk accepted that, the current clerk I mean. And as far as, and I think this is a point of order, saying it's a staffing issue to discuss who was clerk and who's in charge, it's not a staffing issue. The clerk is employed to give information, that means he can be asked questions, to advise, and I'm not hearing a lot.
Now that is a staffing issue there.
It's not.
You cannot say things like
The
that in
clerk
public.
is there to inform
Yes,
and advise.
that is fine. That is
So you
fine.
can ask
You
him
didn't say that. You
questions.
said, but you said he's not. Is what you said. Oh, that's what I heard you to say.
What?
Continue. You heard. I mean, all I'm hearing here is that you're admitting that you already had the correct checks and balances in. Sorry.
Why won't, if
Sean,
you
you
didn't-
keep saying,
if you didn't meet it last time, why wasn't stuff what was put in place with Little John?
Could I finish, please?
Well, I didn't get
I hadn't finished.
You was in charge.
Okay, finish, please.
Thank you. The purpose of the AGAR, as I've just explained, is to show transparently that the public money is being, we've got proper checks and balances to run the council. Obviously we haven't had, because we didn't have them last year, we had to have 3 boxes not met. The assertions that were given to Little John's accepted were not met, and now there's 9. All 9 of them were not met. Right? That has gone to public objections, has gone to Little John's. We were asking for a meeting as through the former vice chair to discuss and come up with solutions. We've got to accept where their failings were and discuss together, just like Gerald said before he walked out. We to come up with solutions and put them to the external auditor, because if we don't, there is no fine, there are no charges, there's no penalties. They will charge us for the time they spend investigating this if we don't do it. So if we investigate it properly, as in a proper meeting, accept the failings and come up with solutions, and committees ain't solving it either, we need to come up with proper solutions and put that to the external auditor, and then we will not get fined. We are wasting public money by doing what we're doing and ignoring it. Saying that we're going to get done anyway is quite a ridiculous thing to say, because it is not true.
Vicky, I'll come in there, then I'm going to respond to that. Okay, Vicky?
Right, so you're saying, I'm addressing you, Stan. You're saying about transparency, about public money, parishioners' money. So the transfer of the funds.
Vicky, people can't hear you.
So you're talking about transparency.
Yes.
Yep, parishioners' money. But yet, the transfer of funds, shouldn't you have been open and transparent when the clerk didn't bring the transfer of the money to a council meeting?
Yes.
Should you not have brought that as chair?
Yes, and I can assure you I would have done
Right,
if I had known about it.
Oh,
That-
so you didn't know about it?
No, I didn't.
No, so Ian? So you knew about it, so
There was 2
should you have not brought it to his attention?
It-
To be
that-
open and transparent. Sorry.
That's right. There is only 2 people knew about that transfer. And I've stated this twice before, and I'm going to state it again. It was me and the person who signed for it. It was on my behalf, it was never discussed with the chairman. Because I took it on trust that that money would be paid back in when the precepts came back. But it wasn't paid back in. My fault is that I didn't bring it to council. But with respect, I didn't think it was I'm not digging a hole here. I didn't think it was my job to fetch it. It was the clerk's job to bring it to council. And maybe in hindsight, I should have done. And I admit that.
That's a wonderful
Okay.
thing. Yeah, I agree.
Can I just think one thing there that the previous chair did know about at least one of those transfers? It is in an email that he sent in May.
I discussed it with the temporary clerk, and he assured me, rightly or wrongly, he assured me that he knew nothing about the transfers of the money.
Said chair, not
Whose
like.
authority was this money transferred then? Because, in my opinion, Ian had no authority to do it without the chair.
They can't.
No, that's not.
That's not true. They can't
That's
sign
not true.
it. They can't sign it.
That's
It's
not
on the
true.
bank transfer.
So Ian ran this council.
Sorry?
No.
So why is everything done by deputies and not by people that were in charge? That's my argument.
Can I just say, your bank mandate dictates. Your bank mandate dictates.
Can I have a point of order? People are talking.
Did you not know that there was no money to pay wages?
Ladies and gents, I've got another 4 minutes, and I'm going to close this down.
Getting
So,
money out of reserves could be put back into the precept for £100,000 when that precept is budgeted for. Why did you think you could do that? That is why in February, after you paid it back in after the precept, you were down in February and you had to borrow it again. There is 200 grand missing, there's 100 grand what you borrowed twice.
there's no money. There's no money missing. All money is accounted for.
It's not, I didn't mean it's missing, I meant
I'm saying it's not missing. I'm just conscious that we're going round in circles. This was to talk about the AGAR when we're drifting. So I'm going to quickly close. Jason, would you like to come back there, please? And I'll let Carol have a share hand up there.
I think coming back to the AGAR and when it was signed off, and it comes into question about some of the other things raised as well, is I think the council need to change their voting policy because there's clearly a divide in the council. Clearly a divide. So you're edging one vote either way each time to what people want to do. And in any other business, that wouldn't be tolerated. To be fair, in any other business, most of you would be out of jobs. Yep. Just pure and simple because you can't. Not because you're not capable. Sorry,
we're just going to come back about the voting policy.
Yeah. So not because you're not capable, but just because of the divide and people not getting on. And I'd propose that you change the voting policy to 75%. And in the event that you can't conclude meetings on matters, that you dissolve the council and you re-vote, because there is no way we should be coming to meeting after meeting after meeting as the general public and listening to this. And while I think some of you, really good and you do try, and it essentially eats you away dealing with this week in, week out, I think even now, and I'm not going to go into it too much, but even now you are not meeting your financial regulations. Categorically, 14.3 being one of them, as a council, you have not met on 2 different things in the last 6 months. So, and that's categoric. You voted on something in the last meeting, which 14.3 should have been considered because it covers off that particular item, and it was not met. So, as a council, and this isn't against individuals, because a lot of you I actually think are nice people, but as a council you don't get on. And that AGAR, if it's so wrong, why was it accepted? And if it's right, why is it being contested? And I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying there's such a divide in the council that you're not acting in the parishioners' best behalf.
I agree.
Because it is tit for tat, it's one versus other, and it's not fair on us as the parishioners.
Can I just advise on one of those comments, Chair, was the one about the the voting policy, it's a legal requirement that voting just be by majority. So there's nothing the council can.
I dispute that to an extent, because within your financial regulations, there is two terminologies. There is approval by council and approval by full council. So can you tell me the difference?
From the top of my head, no, I can't.
We can get back to you on that.
It's relevant to the AGAR
It's
because
relevant.
I believe that if the right voting things are in place, and while there might be a minimum legal requirement for majority, you have the right to implement betterment.
So, as I say, so there's two people put their hands up, there's Vicky, then there's Tina.
Carol.
Sorry, Carol, and then we're gonna close the meeting, so please. Carol, first.
So we were asked, why are we revisiting AGAR? And so, firstly, it wasn't done correctly when we first did it. Secondly, reports have gone in to Little John's, as we all know.
Is that your opinion, Carol, that it's not done correctly?
It wasn't done correctly.
Yes, it's opinion at the moment, yeah.
It's on
It's your
video, it
opinion.
wasn't done correctly.
It's your opinion.
Right, no, it's the fact. 3, Little John's have been approached. We had a meeting with the and it's not just one resident who's put complaints in. She proved we have not met half of these, Sean, and that were on the word of the clerk as well. Is the clerk denying that?
We're not discussing the meeting, they keep going over and over again, the clerk's not going to answer
The
that
reason,
question. The clerk's not going to answer that question, if you don't want to move on, I'll
the
ask
reason
somebody else.
why we're revisiting this today is to say we didn't meet it, and for us not to be charged.
We're going to get charged as it is now.
No, Sean.
Sorry.
Again, have you read?
Okay, moving on. Sorry, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. You just keep going over old ground here.
No.
People have discussed this and discussed it.
No,
we're
I'm
moving
not
on.
giving you a reason.
Vicky, and then Tina.
No, let Carol say a reason.
Why won't you revisit it?
As I've explained that, I'll answer that question, then I'll ask another question. So I didn't revisit it because as a timeline, I got received an email while we're on annual leave. I come back on the 1st. I got told all this information on the 1st, and I got told by yourself, speak to Andrew. Andrew was on annual leave. Andrew came back from annual leave on the 4th. On the 5th, we were made aware that it had gone through. The report had been made by a member of the public.
Which was Senate meeting it were going.
Yeah. I weren't there, so I can't say, but I've been told that you yourself and other councillors told me that if we do this now, that person won't send it in.
No, we didn't.
They'd sent it in.
No, we
even
didn't.
after that, me and you had a discussion stood there after the meeting, and I says I will seek people and we'll seek advice. And the advice come back and it said that it has gone to the Little Johns. There's nothing we can do about it now. We will get charged. They will investigate no matter what we do. Vicky and then Tina, and then we're going to close the meeting.
So, in answer to you, Jason, yeah, there's a massive divide. And you can see it at every single vote. Whatever we vote on, everything. I did sign the AGAR because I took the advice. Karen King had carried out an audit. Yes, it's not a full audit. She would be here weeks and weeks and weeks to do a full audit on her own. So like any auditor, they do a sample. And she is a professional. I'm not an auditor. I have not got them qualifications. I've got others, but not them. So I took that advice and I read through it and I signed it. So I will hold my hand up. I did sign it because to me, Karen King is the expert. I take the expert's advice. Rightly or wrongly, some people might think that to me, if you've got an expert like yourself in your trade, I would take your advice. Yeah. So I did for the public. I did sign the AGAR.
And if and when anything comes out, we'll all discuss what comes out.
Yes, I'll be able to meet it.
Well, I suggest that's done in public.
Yeah.
I
Tina?
literally suggest it's done in public.
Can we just, we're having cross conversations here, can we just?
Yeah, well, can we just do that in public when it does come
We
back?
will.
Because I am absolutely sick of the divide. Sick of it. different divide prior to you becoming chair. Totally different divide, because then there were people voting and certain members had the votes.
Even
Because
Jimmy,
the
Jimmy
chair-
accepted a vote.
Because the chair had the councilling vote. I'm going, I've had enough.
Okay, Tina, so I'll ask your question, Tina, then we're going to close the meeting.
This is Neil parting short. Today is Worldwide Mental Health Day. Some of these, Sam takes Mickey after mental health. Let's hope it never ever knocks on your door.
Well said, Tina.
So,
It's my mental health
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. The meeting is now closed. It's 10 to 8.